Let's do this. Boomity boom, boom, boom. Hey, Teddy, how you doing this week, my friend?
I don't want to stand by.
I heard you yelling something a minute ago, but I said, stand by.
I'm yelling, I don't want to stand by.
Hey, that's a good-looking shirt you got on there, Teddy.
Well, I don't see you wearing one.
I almost did wear one today.
You almost did. You almost did. That does
I
not
almost did.
that does not answer the question. You still don't have one on.
I've been actually, I had a couple of them on this past week. My wife asked me if it's the only shirt I own, and I was like, "Why you say that?" Well, I've seen two of these come to to the wash already this week. So now she's probably pissed off because I just made fun of her. So I can't win tonight, Teddy.
Yeah.
Hey, look here. We got a lot to talk about. First of all, thank you for being a part of the show. If you're with us right now, if you'll do us a favor, make sure to pass it around, let everybody know that we are live right now. And to be a part of the show, all you got to do is leave a comment. It's that easy. You don't have to buy a super sticker. You don't have to do all that other stuff. This is free. You get to be a part of this show. This is something Teddy and I have said from the get-go. We want this show to be fan accessible, and that means not having to pay money and everything else, but just be a part of the program. So all you got to do is just leave your comments in the chats, and we'll throw them up on the screen.
And the other thing too, we're the only people with a podcast that give away free stuff.
Yeah, giving you a chance to win a free T-shirt, just like what Teddy's got on right there. Road Trip After Hours, brand new design T-shirt. And he will choose the best question of the night, and the best question will get that free Road Trip After Hours T-shirt. Teddy, before we get there, let's talk about something that's in the news right now. John Laurinaitis has been removed from Janelle Grant's lawsuit and is now going to cooperate in her case against WWE and Vince McMahon. Grant's legal team has confirmed that Laurinaitis will cooperate and provide evidence in her case where she alleges years of sexual abuse and trafficking. And after reading this today, I'm not really surprised this happened. Are you?
Not at all.
Does it sound like the John Laurinaitis you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. It's something I don't know what the whole deal is.
Well, here's the thing. If what we just heard, if all this is true, okay, he just turned on the man that made him somebody. He wasn't nothing until he came to work for Vince. Vince put him in charge of talent relations, gave him a bunch of power and stuff, and he abused that power because I was there and I was one of the guys that he abused. So I'm not going to say too much about this because I don't want to be getting involved, but I'm just telling what I'm saying is the truth. So that's why I say it. So what I'm saying to you, if he don't care nothing about the man that he worked for and made him what he is today, then you know damn well he didn't care nothing about me.
When you get somebody like that, they're taking a deal so they can get out of trouble. That's exactly what Laurinaitis is.
That's a coward. That's what you call a coward.
Yeah, I mean,
okay, if you was in there with the man, and if it's true, you know what I mean, just tell the truth or whatever and be done with it. That by him copping out and stooging or whatever you want to call it, that ain't gonna what's that gonna do? Absolutely nothing for him. He may get off, may get free, or may not get convicted something, you know what I mean? But he's got to live with that for the rest of his life.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, you got to think, look, I'm not saying anybody's guilty or innocent here. We don't know. I mean, it hasn't been played out in court yet, but the characters in this, man, if you could write a drama or a crime, kind of thing that you want to go see at a movie or see in a documentary series, man, this is it right here. It's real life playing out that is absolutely incredible, especially when you get all the different rumors that fly around about what's taking place. But at the end of the day, it looks like John Laurinaitis tucked his tail between his legs and said, "What can I do to get out of trouble?" And that's what he's doing right now. So pretty classy lady. Hey, Mac and Teddy. And Zach also popping in here. Zach Minger, good to have you in here. Nice T-shirt, Teddy.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Zach. That's a good way to work on getting you one.
Pretty classy lady. How do I get the T-shirt? I'm glad you're in here tonight because I could not find information. If you will, just forward me your information and I'll make sure to get that out to you. I did try that last week, though, after the show, and I could not find what I was looking for.
I knew it would be only you.
Now, only me, brother. Let's see what else. Bruce BC Couch. Hey, Teddy and Mac. Hope you guys had a great week, and we did. Thank you very much. And
Yeah, we
pretty
did.
classy,
Thank you, man.
pretty classy lady. Also, Laurinaitis has been full of it for decades. And that's true. Look, I've heard stories long before I even talked to you, Teddy, about John Laurinaitis, about the kind of character he actually was behind the scenes. But that's not unusual. You find people like that all the time in wrestling, don't you?
Yeah, you do.
I mean,
It
it's
just lot of it just hadn't been exposed and brought out.
well, yeah. Now it's in your face, and and sometimes they just don't care if it's out in your face, and because they think they'll never get in trouble. And guess what? By the way, Vince McMahon. This is some other news going around, Teddy. There's rumors now. Jonathan Coachman has said this on a recent show. As a matter of fact, I think I've got the actual quote. Let me grab that for you real fast.
Why don't you have that stuff ready? You know we're coming on the air here, and you know you're gonna need it. So what are you looking for?
Okay, you read it then. Here we go. Jonathan Coachman from the Behind the Turnbuckle podcast. Jonathan Coachman was quoted as saying, I've been quoted a lot from this show the last week, everywhere, because I have conversations. People trust me. People call me. I talk to them because I don't treat this like the end all be all. And the one thing that I've yet to be wrong about, anything. I'm not sure. Okay, I may have read that just a little bit wrong. And so now all of a sudden I'm getting on all these websites because I have educated views and I also have people that are tipping me off. Now, do I know 100% that he's going to buy WWE? I know he wants to, end quote. I just saw, after reading his response, I just saw today where WWE has said, well, we're not interested in selling the Vince McMahon, so it doesn't matter.
TKO said that, not WWE.
Yeah. So does this surprise you, though? Do you think there's a possibility he's interested in buying WWE back?
Well, I don't know. That's really one hard to answer there, man. I don't know. I thought, if it was me, I wouldn't want WWE back. I would buy and get my own company and maybe a brand new name and start fresh.
Yep.
Because Vince is a genius and he can be some bad and tough competition for you. And that's what I think he wants people to know, that, I'm not done. I'm coming back, and and I'm going to show you, that I am the king of the ring.
Yeah, we have said since he had left WWE that Vince is the kind of person. Vince and all of his faults and all of his good things that he has, he is vindictive and he will go after something. He does not like to lose, and it's something that is pride. I think that's probably why he was such a successful businessman. But seeing him just kind of creep away and never hear from him again, I don't buy that. I still think somewhere, somehow, he's going to be involved in more entertainment type of wrestling programs or something along those lines. Eventually, he's going to pop up and something's going to happen.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see. Like I said, Vince is a genius, and I don't see him going down, without a fight.
No. Hornswoggle.
Oh, Jesus. Do we have to talk about him?
Hornswoggle, he recently spoke about getting the WWE Legends deal. He said, quote, it makes me feel like I mattered in WWE with this now. It wasn't a get rid of me, release me, which is okay. No one deserves a job. That's my thing. Whenever people get released, internet goes crazy about how could they do this? No one in any workforce deserves a job. You're lucky to have that, especially that kind of job. He went on to say, and now to be under a Legends deal, it's incredible. It's just like the coolest thing ever, end quote. Your thoughts,
okay.
Are you not a Hornswoggle fan?
Yeah, I'm a Hornswoggle fan. I love Horny. I just saw him. Where was I? Indianapolis, Indiana, at that wrestling event there right after WrestleMania. So I had a chance to see him there, y'all. And so Horny has his own wrestling alliance there in Wisconsin, I believe, where it is, or something. But I went to work for him. He has his own company there. Him and a couple other guys have got their own deal. But I did go to work for him. Did one of his shows there. It's in Wisconsin. I got the name of it is right on my. I can't think of it, but yeah,
You
Horny
need to
has his
reach.
own deal.
You need to reach out to him. I'd like to have him on the show. I've actually have
We
always
tried to
wanted.
get in touch with him. Okay,
Oh,
we had numbers on him. All those numbers would change. Ain't nobody sucking up to him.
it's just,
Yeah, I can get 1 million people come on this show without him.
oh man, sometimes even I'm not sure if we're shooting or if we're just
Well, I'm
doing
just
some.
saying he changed all his numbers. You know, me and you were trying to get in touch with him.
I
Every
do
number he
remember
gave
that. Yes.
me,
Yeah.
it wasn't right. It was all that disconnected. It wasn't wrong. So you know what I'm saying. We ain't gonna suck up to you. You know, we'll try to find you, but if we can't, then forget it. We'll move on to the next man.
Teddy Long got ghosted by Hornswoggle.
Yeah, that's what it is.
All right, let's see. Brandon Atkins, who was better, Hornswoggle or Little Doink the Clown?
Golly, man, Dunk the Clown was really good. That's a
Mm,
tough question there. Both of them were good. Hornswoggle was
yeah.
definitely good at his job. I mean, I did some stuff with him in the WWE, and I had a great time working with.
With it, yeah, there were some stories too with Hornswoggle I've heard, and it's one of the reasons I want to get him on the show. So if you're watching Hornswoggle, well, never mind. I guess we don't want you because you don't want us. No, that's what
Yeah,
Teddy
right. Stop sucking up to him.
said. But there are stories about being ribbed where he got stuck under the ring with a chicken. There was somebody threw a chicken under there, and he's scared to death of him.
Well, I don't
Let's
know.
see.
I don't know nothing about that. All I know, one story about him, he got so drunk till he was. I think Undertaker had to put him on a luggage cart and roll him up to his room.
Pulled him
Yeah,
out in the parking lot and left him out there overnight.
yeah.
Hey, look, by the way, Teddy and I will be in Jacksonville, Florida, actually St. Augustine, Florida, at World Golf Village for Riverside Wrestling Con. That's going to be a lot of fun, Teddy. I'm looking forward to it. And for those of you who want to know more about the event and everything else, go to, God, that's horrible.
What is wrong with you?
My
Will
mind
you
just got slipped.
please?
River City Wrestling
And then you got the nerve to talk to me
Con.com.
about going seeing Godfather. Did he come visit you today?
He may have drove by. Here's some more.
Letters, oh we get letters, we get your letters every day. Mailman, mailman, mail today. Reach right in and pull one out. Those letters, I love those letters. Let's find out what you got to say.
Oh boy!
Mailman, mail today.
And this is where you get to be a part of the show by dropping your
Hey,
questions in here. Yeah, go ahead, Teddy.
I want to say this before we start the questions. We're going to be, like you told them, in Sarasota for the big River City Wrestling
That will be
Con.
in St.
Hey,
Augustine. You can
St.
go to
Augustine.
Sarasota.
God, and I say that every time.
I
Every
know.
time.
This is the only show. Those of you who are watching wonder what we're laughing about. Teddy could never get the name right, no matter how many times he tried. And it got so funny that at one point last year, he went by Godfather's table. He visited for a minute. He came back. Not only could he not remember where he was or what he was doing, he looked in the opposite direction of the camera. So yeah, you've had a hard time with that, but I have too. I stumble on it too sometimes.
we listening to you right now since the show started.
Hey, look here, I'm trying to help you a little bit. I'm going to throw you under the bus next time.
Well, that's all right. Throw me on the
But
bus
anyhow,
and
since
roll
we're not
over.
going to Sarasota, we're going to St. Augustine. What did you want to say?
I want to say this. I was going to ask you this. Is there any way that we'll have T-shirts there to give away, but we're not going to give them away unless you subscribe? Is there any way that someone can come up and subscribe to the Road Trip After Hours and they get a shirt there?
If you want to buy a shitload of T-shirts, yeah, but you can get hundreds of people
You don't
wanting
know.
to
We
sign
got
up.
T-shirts. You don't know how many we need.
Look, how many people? If you told somebody all you got to do is subscribe to get a free T-shirt, do you know how many people would be at our table buying, just signing up just to get a free T-shirt?
Well, as long as they subscribe. If we run out of shirts, we run out of shirts.
We'll let you know more about that.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll have something we can do while we're there. That's for sure. But yeah, we are a little bit limited on our T-shirts this year too, Teddy. That's one thing I noticed. I got to talk to our T-shirt guy and see if he can pump some more out to us because we need, especially the design you're wearing right there. So,
yeah, well.
All right. If you want to be a part of the show, leave a comment here. We'll get to them and throw them up on the screen. And Teddy, at the end of this, will be going to actually choose somebody to be our winner for tonight. And my mouse has all of a sudden just died here. So let me use it just manually here. Go to the chat.
You got that cheap equipment. You're like Bill Apter.
No, I don't know what happened, actually. Just
Yeah,
everything
I'm
started
sure you don't.
freezing. What the hell? You there?
Yeah.
Wow. Everything changed. Okay.
It's bad weather out here, man. So that could be the problem too. It's been tornadoes and everything right here by me.
Oh, really? Yeah, we've had
Yeah.
some bad weather here, but I don't know what's happened. All of a sudden, this entire screen just froze up on me. That's not good because I can't control a lot of things. I'm gonna try to get down. I got one down here, and it will not pop up on the screen, guys. River City Wrestling Con. Yeah. This is irritating as hell. Teddy,
That's John Adams just sent that.
Yeah, but
Is
let
it
me ask
John?
you. Go ahead.
Is it John Adams or Josh?
John Adams.
John Adams. Okay.
Let's see. Let me ask you. One of our first questions we get tonight is from Tabitha on X, who wants to know. We all know your work in front of the camera, but did you ever have any backstage duties as well? That's a good question for people who don't know how it works.
Well, no, I never did have any backstage duties with the WWE. I did a lot when I was in Texas when I was running SWE. I was in charge of creative and everything, and we really turned that operation around. I went in there; they were drawing 50 people. I think I was there about 3 months, and we went up to 1,000, and then we just kept growing, And then all of a sudden, we was in Canton, Texas, one night, and we didn't even have enough seats. They had to go out and buy chairs so they could have for the people to sit down. So I'm very creative, and a lot of people don't know this, but I learned a lot. I just kept everything to myself, but now I can expand and let people know what I really know.
Guys, I want to tell you straight out, I'm sorry I can't get to any more of your questions because my screen is completely locked up, but I got enough questions to get us through to 7:30. I apologize if that clears up. We'll answer the questions as well, but for whatever reason, the screen's just frozen. I can't move any of your questions. Let me ask you, here's another question when it comes to Vic in the Sticks from Facebook. Any memories of heavy metal Van Hammer?
Only thing I remember with him is I worked with him a little bit in WCW, and that's about it. I don't know much about him.
Yeah, he was somebody I remember seeing only in WCW. Did he ever
Yeah,
go to WWE that you know of, or did he disappear after WCW?
No, he was in WCW. That's only place I knew him from.
All right, let's see. Dave from YouTube. I like this question here. During the White Boy Challenge, was there ever anyone who didn't want to be the white boy?
Well, I don't know. They never did say anything about it. But I'm pretty sure there were some. But I want to do this too while we're speaking about that. And since that question was asked, a lot of people didn't want to get involved in certain things. You know what I mean? Because they didn't want it to look like like it really supposed to look. But there was one guy that was very cooperative, and me and him were good friends, and that was Bob Holly. And I never will forget, I was doing the White Boy Challenge and was working with Bob Holly, Rodney was, and so Bob Holly was on the outside, and he was laying over by the announce table, and he calls me, and he says, Teddy, slap the shit out of me, slap the shit out of me. And I look at him, and he says, come on, so then I slapped him. And then my cue was I run right to the announcer's microphone. I said, I just slapped a cracker. Tell him I just slapped a cracker. Okay, but Bob Holly was the guy that would let me do that. And there were a lot of white guys, they weren't no black guys slapping them on TV.
No,
But
no.
Bob Holly was very cooperative, and I never will forget that. But he helped that story.
Let's see. That's a good question, by the way. And I thought I had uh, the questions coming through now. Guys, I give up. That's the second time around now that it's still doing it. All right. Frank the Tank wants to know, do you think there comes a point where there is too much wrestling?
Well, I think we're at the point now. I think there's too much now. Every time you look, there's wrestling. You got A&E, AEW with 3 or 4 shows, or 2 at least. I think I've seen Dynamite or something else
Yeah.
they got. But anyway, there's shows there. You still got TNA, which are coming around, coming up strong. And then you got WWE. I think the only thing that's really going to help the other guys is by WWE being on Netflix. It gives these other guys a chance to come on regular TV where people can really see them, because everybody don't have Netflix.
No, not everybody's got Netflix. But the other problem, too, to me, and I agree with the premise of the question, is that is there too much wrestling? I think if there's an oversaturation of it, people will get tired of it. I mean, and also at the same time, I'm glad there's enough wrestling on TV, because at one time there was only WWE that you saw on TV. Now, because of the way we consume our TV or our streaming, now that things have changed so much, there are a lot more players in the wrestling world than we've ever had in the past. But there comes a point where it's all one and the same, and it becomes mush. And that can hurt even the big companies, because if people get tired of seeing so much, they're going to get tired of even the big companies, because it's just everywhere.
Well, then the other thing too, I don't think they got enough talent to go around.
No.
To make to make good TV shows. It's gonna take a lot of guys, man, with all this wrestling. But like I said, that's these guys will figure it out. Either they'll make it work or it won't work.
I do see some of these. I can read these out to you. Let's see. Pretty Classy Lady. She did say, Teddy's just trying to give back to the community, Mac. And she's laughing. She's talking about the T-shirts. John Adams.
Yeah, thank you.
John Adams says, you guys been drinking before the show? So,
we always drink before the show. How do you think we do this?
I got to put up with him. Let's see. What wrestler? This is John Adams as well. What wrestler would you would have liked to have gotten in the ring with that you may not have worked with?
Wow. Golly, man.
Yeah, I imagine there's a bunch of them.
I'd like to work with Sami Zayn.
Sammy, for me, and I think it's time that Sammy gets something different like that. Sammy has been Sammy, and Sammy is very good with emotions and portraying those on TV, but he's been doing that same thing for a long time. And I do think there is a point now where it would be nice to see him with a manager and maybe be packaged a little bit different, because I don't think his time in WWE is near an end. I still think he's got a lot left in him, mainly because he's able to act and portray these stories in such a way that makes them interesting, and that makes you valuable.
And he's such a nice guy. A great attitude and everything. I mean, such a nice guy. Yeah, the purpose of the manager is to restart his career. The manager comes in and convinces him, no, you're not done. They may think you're done, but here's what I'm going to do for you. We're going to start all over. And I'll tell you what, Sammy, you're going to be a winner. I'll make sure of that. And then they start doing the right thing.
Herb Simmons asking, what does Teddy like to do in his downtime?
Well, Herb, I don't do a whole lot. I'm a gym guy, a gym rat. So I do the gym like 3 days out the week, and then I take 1 day off. Then I'm back in there, and that's about it for me. And I come home with my dog Rufus, and me and him just enjoy the rest of the day. So I don't do a whole lot, man. I just like working out, trying to stay in shape and stay alive, and just keep on moving.
And Billy Slick stopping by saying, Teddy Long, you are an absolute legend. And Pretty Classy Lady, by the way, to get something out to me, if you will reach out to me through, I'm not sure how you're watching. If you're on Facebook, send me a message through Facebook, but you're coming through YouTube. So I'll tell you what, send it to Mac, SMAC, Davis Mail, MAIL, at gmail.com. That's macdavismail@gmail.com. I promise that will get out to you this week. You get that to me and I'll get the shirt to you. All right, let's see. Alan Alan on X, list the following from best to worst. Okay. Actually, it looks kind of easy to me. WWE, AEW, TNA, ROH. Top company would be
the top company would be WWE.
behind that. Who would you put?
Probably TNA. We're looking at a little bit of what they're doing.
Yeah.
And things are looking real good for them.
TNA is one of those quiet companies that's always been kind of a little bit in the background for years now. And they're just waiting for that right opportunity to make something really happen. And it's going to take the right storyline. First of all, I think, to grab people's attention, to bring them over there, because the product is really good. And when you compare it to that of WWE and AEW, I agree. Between AEW and TNA, I tend to go with TNA more than I do AEW. Is that who you would put in at third? Would you put AEW in third place then? Or would you put ROH in third place?
I'd put ROH in third place.
So you'd put AEW at the bottom of the list right now as far as the companies go from best to worst.
Yeah.
All right. So how much time do we have here? We still got a few more minutes here. Let's see. Question 6, Samantha, name association. Okay. Yeah, this is one I mentioned the name of one of these names earlier today. But first of all, give me your thoughts, any memories or anything. And the first name is Big Boss Man.
Oh God, what a great guy, man. When I first broke in refereeing and stuff, that's when I was working with Ray Trailer, that was his name. And golly, man, he was another sweetheart of a guy, great attitude and everything. And I had a chance to ride with him for a little while too, so we worked together. Yeah, Boss Man was a great guy.
He looked like he was not just a fun guy to be around, but he looked like he could be hilarious at times. Could he prank pretty good, or was he good at jokes? Because he came across like he could be.
He mostly pranked himself.
All right, here's the next name on the list, Eugene. Nick Dinsmore.
Yeah, Nick Dinsmore. Yeah, he was another great guy, great attitude. I worked with him a little bit. Yeah, I enjoyed him.
He was one of those characters too. I know he wasn't going to be a long-term character. He's kind of like the Hornswoggles and other people. There's a character there for a short period of time where it works, and then eventually it fades away. Eugene was one of those characters, but I thought he portrayed that character so well. I thought he was perfect with it. It made you care for him. You felt sympathy for him. And a lot of people can't do that. It's very hard to make people feel sympathetic for you, and genuine sympathy.
That's when you know how to sell.
Yes, absolutely. Let's see, Dave Crone, Teddy. I wish I could put this on the screen, guys. Teddy, any funny weed stories?
Let's see. I don't know, man. There's a lot of funny weed stories. I just don't remember none of them, but how can you remember?
Hey, let me ask you this. What's your go-to snack? Munchie.
I don't really have it much as a lot. I kind of control my appetite a little bit and, watch what I eat. So I don't get the munches no more.
No, you hear
I'm disciplined, man. I watch what I put in my body.
Well, you got to be nowadays, and that includes everything, including prescriptions.
You were
talking about this the other day. Was it yesterday or today we were talking about it?
We were talking about it. They gave me something called Gabapentin or something.
Yeah.
So I went to take one. Well, I always read everything. So I went to take one of them, and I read about it, and they said, this here will cause you to commit suicide. You'll want to kill yourself. So why will you sell me something that I'm going to take and make me want to kill myself? So I only took that one. I ain't taking no more of them.
I watch these commercials for pharmaceuticals all the time. And it's like, most of the time, I don't even know what the drug is for that they're talking about. But for about a minute, they tell you all the complications by taking the medicine. Death is usually one of those they mention. Why would I want to take something that may kill me in my sleep? I think I told you they tried to get me on a medication before COVID came out, and it would lower your immune system. Had I had done that and been on that program and COVID came through, brother, I would have been in trouble. I would have had no protection.
You don't lower your immune system. You keep your immune. I take something for that every day for my immune system. I take it every day.
Yeah, yeah, look, I'll be straight up honest. When we go to these shows, I have a little packet of this stuff that's supposed to kind of protect you a little bit more when you're in crowded areas like airports and things like that. Only because you got to be smart. I mean, you take care of your body, you take care of what you do, everything else should fall in place.
You
You
take
shouldn't
care
have
of
to worry.
your body will take care of you.
Absolutely. Dave Crone, we love you guys in St. Louis. Hey, we appreciate that very much. St. Louis is one of our favorite places every year, and we say that because it's true. Okay, let's get back to some of the names here. We're actually a little bit over, but let's go through them anyhow. Next name is one that I did mention to you earlier today, and that was Miss Jacqueline. Any memories with Jacqueline?
Oh yeah, I had a great story with her. Well, one night, me and her, she all of a sudden I end up riding. Well, she needed a ride, so she rode with me. So anyway, make a long story short, I think we drove from Greensboro, was going to Richmond, Virginia. Well, why did I do this? I'm really tired. So I let Jackie drive. Okay.
Oh no.
So the best thing about her driving, next thing I know, I doze off to sleep. So then when I finally wake up, I look up, we're still riding. Now we was only 100 miles, you know what I mean? We were not right far. We're still riding. So I look over at her and I'm like, what are you doing? So find out she has already went 200 miles out of the way.
Oh
So
no.
now I'm really pissed now. So I get Jackie, please get out. So I put in the passenger seat. I took over. So now I'm really pumping it now because we got to get to bed.
Yeah.
We look up and we pull up in the Marriott in Richmond, Virginia. We finally get there, but we pull up in the Marriott at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh Lord.
Guess who's
Oh,
standing there and seen us?
who?
JBL and Ron Simmons.
Oh shit.
Boy, did they rip me all day long about that.
I bet.
Oh God, I couldn't. They gave me no rest, and they
Oh,
told everybody that we left Greensboro at 7 o'clock that night, and we ended up in Richmond at 8 o'clock in the morning.
well, I mean, you got caught. You got caught. Hey, look, we saw Jackie in St. Louis, and
She's gonna be with us in that at the River City Wrestling Con. She's gonna be there.
Where's that? What town is that in?
That's in Sarasota.
No, it's in St. Augustine.
I'm just messing with you.
No, you're
St.
not.
Augustine. I'm just messing with you.
Okay, we got a couple more names, a couple more names on this list, and there are a couple of good ones too. First of all, Kevin Nash.
Oh, great guy. Me and him talk on occasion. You know what I mean? Kevin is a kind of a cool guy.
He's kind of a laid back, quiet
yeah,
person.
he's kind of laid back. So every time I see him, we always speak and hold a conversation a little bit, and that's it.
Yep. All right, here's the last name on the list, and I think we're out of time. We see pretty classy lady is saying, "Did you ever work with Channel 17 Wrestling?"
Yeah, that was the old TBS.
Yep. All right, here we go. Last name on the name association list is Jim Cornette.
Oh God, love Jim Cornette. And the reason why, because Jim Cornette is real. He'll tell you just like it is, and he ain't gonna lie to you. And what he says out of his mouth, it is the total truth. And he don't care what he say about some people because he know he's telling the truth on them. So I love Jim Cornette.
Yeah, there's people ask me all the time because I do another show for Sports Keto with Vince Russo, and I get asked all the time, "How do you work with Vince Russo?" And I understand. And I understand why people feel that way, because everybody feels different. But like Jim Cornette, if you listen to what they say when they're talking about critiquing the show and how it could be better, more times than not, they're right. And this will kill all three of them because they all three, I don't think, care for one another. But Jim Cornette, Vince Russo, and Eric Bischoff, they get all this heat. They're hated so much. But again, when you listen to what they say, more times than not, they're absolutely correct.
That's why they hate them.
Yeah. Look, I don't hate any of these guys. I know each one of these guys, and to be honest with you, they all ask me the same thing. How do you work with this person? Well, I base people on how I work with them, and that's it. Their history with somebody else is somebody else.
When I learned this way time, when I was in the wrestling business, you learn one thing: you can work with a guy, but that don't mean you have to have dinner with him.
No, and that's the case anywhere. I mean, honest to God, this, all right,
I
we're
work
out of
with
time.
a lot of guys in WCW, WWE. I work with a lot of guys. I wouldn't go out with them.
Let's see. We do have Dave Crone popping in with one more question, and we'll take this one in before we close out. Was Vince really perverted like they are saying he was, or a scumbag or was he cool?
Vince was a cool guy. I don't know what they're saying. I don't know anything about the case.
Yeah.
What is the only thing I know is what I read. So you can't believe everything you read. So, but Vince was a cool guy. That's my opinion. Okay, he got on me one time, and that's all he needed to get on me one time, and he never got on me again because I didn't put myself in that position no more. And the night he was getting on me, I stopped him and I told him, I said, "Sir," I said, "I want you to know one thing. I was out there playing. That will never happen again." And he looks back at me and he says, "Yeah, you're better than that." And that he straightened me out right then. I didn't do nothing. I didn't mess nothing else up.
All right, Teddy, you got to pick a message or a question for tonight for the free T-shirt. Who are you going to pick tonight?
I'll maybe pick the guy that whoever we just finished talking about wanted to know about Vince.
Yeah, because he also had the one about the funny weed stories too. So a couple of really good questions. So I agree with that, Dave. You're on Facebook, so shoot me a message there with your information, and I will get that T-shirt out with pretty classy ladies.
And I want you to want you guys to wear these shirts and put them on social media so the people can see where you got them from, and they may want to say, "Well, how can I get mine?" Then you can tell them.
Yeah, in fact, when we were in St. Louis, we had a couple of people wearing one of our first design T-shirts that we had a few years ago, and they showed up in that. And we had pictures made with them, and it's always cool to see that, especially when they take the time to wear that for us to see it as well. We appreciate that very much. Again, we will be in St. Augustine, Florida for River City Wrestling Con. It's going to be a lot of fun. That is June 7th and 8th, Saturday and Sunday. Teddy and I will be there for both days. And Teddy, I believe I saw today, I just reposted that, I believe, on Facebook as well. That I'll be hosting a Q&A with you and Mike Chioda.
Yes.
So that's going to be a lot of fun. I look forward to that because he's been on the show before. He's like Teddy. They don't hold back. They're just going to tell you what they think. So that should be
Chioda going to tell you the truth. He's been there a long time, and he knows.
Yes. All right, Teddy, we're out of here. I'll see you again next week. We will be here. It'll be on Thursday. You'll see us on Thursday just before we leave, and then you will also see us popping in and out over the weekend while we are in St. Augustine, so you can be a part of it as well. But be there in person. We'd rather have you there in person. All right, Teddy, we're out of here. I'll see you again next week, my friend.
All right.
You know, I'm trying to get us out of here, Teddy, but I can't even push the end button correctly here. Let me try this. There we go. Boom.